Welcome back. President Trump is considering a delay of his trip to Beijing at the end of the month in an effort to pressure Xi Jinping into helping to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. The president told the Financial Times yesterday this quote, "I think China should help too because China gets 90% of its oil from the Strait of Hormuz. We'd like to know before the trip. 2 weeks is a long time. We may delay," the president said to the FT. Now, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has said it would not be optimal to travel during a war. He's meeting with his Chinese counterparts in Paris right now. He did so over the weekend, hammering out major trade disagreements ahead of the president's planned visit at the end of the month. Joining me now is Gatestone Institute Senior Fellow Gordon Chang. Gordon, good to see you. Now, we have been talking about this, and I raised the question in the last 2 weeks, will this Iran war delay the president's trip to Beijing? Your reaction to what he told the FT?
The president was absolutely right. First of all, the president of the United States should not go to the Chinese capital during a war where China is helping the other side. Matter of fact, China is helping Iran so much that it really is an enemy combatant. For instance, providing military intelligence, weapons, all the rest of it. Everything except for combat troops. So I think that President Trump's message to China is absolutely the right one.
Yeah, and, we knew this. I mean, we knew that China has been complicit and that it has been sending components to Iran, that it has been supporting Iran's illicit behavior. It's been buying its oil for so long. Oil prices this morning are elevated, although they are down from where they were last week. Take a look at the price of crude and the price of Brent. The president is urging other nations to send warships to the Strait of Hormuz to help ease the price at the pump. Brent is up a fraction at 103.29 right now, and crude oil is down 1.5% at 97.16 as the president tries to get an armada of allies. He said this in a truth post over the weekend. Hopefully, China, France, Japan, South Korea, the UK, and others that are affected by this artificial constraint will send ships to the area so that the Hormuz Strait will no longer be a threat by a nation that has been totally decapitated. Now, we know that the Prime Minister of Japan told Parliament this morning no decision has been made about sending warships to the region. She's expected to meet with President Trump in Washington this week. This will be topic A. Meanwhile, Iran's foreign minister is claiming that China and Russia are providing military cooperation with Tehran to help fend off the attacks from Israel and the U.S. We knew that already. So we know that China is complicit in all of this. Another oil tanker passed through the strait en route to Beijing from India. Gordon, your reaction to what Iran has been able to do here?
Well, the Iranian foreign minister was absolutely right. China has been providing military intelligence. They've done that through that rather large Chinese ship just off Iran's shores. Also, they allowed Miser Vision, that Shanghai-based company, to actually publish the coordinates of American military assets through the region. We know that these Chinese drones have, Iranian drones have Chinese microchips in them. You just go through it across the board. I don't think that the United States should allow Chinese tankers through the strait. One way to get Beijing's cooperation, you can't plead with these guys. What you do is you just seize those ships. And that's going to give China the incentive to make sure that its Iranian partner actually opens the strait.
Yeah, and don't forget, the U.S. right now is doing its own investigations around tariffs. You've got Section 301, and the administration has made it clear that Section 122 is a bridge, a 150-day bridge to the 301 tariffs. On March 11th, the U.S. Trade representative opened investigations on China, the EU, Singapore, Switzerland, Norway, Indonesia, Malaysia, Cambodia, Thailand, Korea, a long list. China is still increasing its pressure on Taiwan, resuming military flights around the island after a 10-day hiatus. Your thoughts?
Yeah, there was that quiet period, and it coincided with China's two sessions, those two large meetings in Beijing. But those sessions are now done, so China has ramped up the pressure with those 26 aircraft on Saturday in Taiwan's airspace and the 7 naval vessels. This will continue, but Because China has decimated its military, because there's so much disarray at the top of the Communist Party, I don't think that China is in any position to launch hostilities with an invasion of the main island of Taiwan. Now, that's not to say there won't be war in East Asia, because China can clearly stumble into a war. But really what we're seeing with regard to Taiwan right now is a lot of huffing and puffing by the Chinese military.
Yeah, well, Taiwan's Ministry of National Defense said that it detected 26 aircraft from Beijing flying near Taiwanese territory, in addition to 7 more naval ships from China in the waters surrounding the island. Fox is also reporting a Chinese fishing militia is beginning to form around Taiwan, signaling a gray zone of military activity, Gordon.
Yes, there are thousands of those fishing boats, the Marine Militia, or the Little Blue Men, as they're called. And we have seen over the last couple of months them form into lines, these thousands of ships forming lines. And clearly what we could witness later on would be the Chinese militia completely surrounding the Taiwan main island. So this is something to watch. But again, this is, I think, a bluffing attempt. People say, well, the United States is bogged down in Iran, and so therefore China is going to move on Taiwan. I just don't see that in the cards right now. China is in no condition to do something like that.
All right, Gordon, we will leave it there and certainly keep a watch on that. Thanks so much, Gordon Chang. Good to see you.